right, let's we got Allie for a few more minutes. So we'll try to get through all of them. My guy Buddy, man, he tries a hard bargain. I'll tell you. We got our top breakouts. We did this last year with you, Allie. I don't know if you remember, and it was a great time. My favorite part of it all was our boy Swolder picked Derek Wingo, and I don't think that guy played 3 snaps. I think he had more highlights on us talking about him than he did. Nothing but love for Wingo. Love the guy, but that linebacker room ended up being loaded. So we're
Yeah.
gonna have our breakout players. Allie, you're going first on this one. 2 from the offense and 2 from the defense, and then Davey, I'll
Uh,
let you go.
all right. Well, I wrote down one from each because I didn't follow directions, but I have Jaden Boff on offense. And I'm gonna go with this is
Brandon, that was for
an
you.
an unsexy pick, but I'm gonna go with Fletcher Westfall, and I'll
Hmm.
tell you why. Uh, I talked to a couple different recruiting people lately who told me that they think that part of the reason we haven't gone after O linemen harder in the portal this winter was because they are really excited about the development of Fletcher Westfall, which I found
And he's
really,
a
really, really
tackle,
interesting.
just so everyone's
He is.
aware.
So I'm sorry, picked the offensive line wasn't necessarily the sexiest pick, but I am interested to see how much he gets into the rotation and what we get from him. But I really do think Jaden Baugh is uh, incredible. I really like Jacoby Jackson. I think Webb will contribute. It's not like I mean we're an embarrassment of riches in the running back room at this point, but I just there's something about Jaden Baugh. I have loved him since watching the spring game last year. Um,
Runs hard.
I just he runs so hard. He's like a bowling ball. Like I feel like he is almost like he's your old school running back, much more than
Yeah.
these little shifty guys that Florida has had for so long. Like I appreciate the hard nosed running. I think he has a breakout season. And then on defense, I wrote down LJ McCray. I think he had flashes last season where he just really, really started to come on. And I think this will be the season he comes into his own. And there's opportunity there, right? And I think he's going to make the most of it.
I let's say something about Ball, and I've completely just drew a blank there on oh yeah, I would say this freshman year was a breakout year for him. So for
Yeah.
him to have another one would be fantastic. I remember Harold Perkins, who I love at LSU. I would argue
Mhm.
he had a breakout year his freshman year, and I made a video saying I think he'll have a breakout year his sophomore year, and that's just how good I thought he was going to be. I think they misused him. I saw an article today they're talking about using him in the star again too, and I think that's gonna hurt him again in his success. I don't know
Yeah.
how legitimate that was, but he definitely struggled his sophomore year, and then he got hurt. So
Yeah. Should have come to Florida.
should have should have been an
We
absolute
wanted him.
killer.
We wanted him.
We had him. The reason I like him so much because I remember he was right there, and so I like
Yeah.
to follow guys that we were close with. Colin Simmons is another one that I mean we weren't really close with Colin, but I remember him just being here. So those guys, I'm like, dang, like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
could have been. I haven't heard much from Xavier Filsaime, which makes me feel good. So I feel like we got a W there. I try.
Right.
I keep
Right.
scoring.
That was
I keep
great.
scoring.
Well,
So
I
what?
mean, Pup, we wanted Pup so bad, and then we ended up with him. So you got to keep close tabs because you never know who's going to be on your roster the following year.
I'm on the recruiting staff. Allie, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody, but now you guys know. Dave.
Oh man. Well, I got two defensive guys I'm going to go with here first. I'm going to pick Devin Moore. Obviously, when he's been on the field, he's caused a lot of pass breakups,
Like
Yeah.
that one.
interceptions.
Yeah. That's a
He's
good
been
one.
all over the field. He's been a great corner, but the problem with him is he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Can Devin Moore stay healthy this year and play a full season? I think if you can get a full season out of Devin Moore, that's really going to help out that defensive back room, especially with the
Yeah.
safeties and everything they got back there. And I like Tyreek Sapp. I mean, this guy had 8 sacks last year, 2 forced fumbles. The guy was all over the field. He was a ball hog towards the end of the season. And I think, like, if I go by PFF grades a lot, and I love PFF, um,
Yeah.
he's constantly had a defensive. I mean, last year he had a defensive grade of 90, which is unheard of. And then he's constantly had PFF grades in the 70s and 80s in just about every statistical category. I think we're going to see a lot of big things from Tyreek Sapp. Offensively, I have to go with Jake Slaughter. I mean, coming back, already got the brick. I mean,
I mean,
I
that's
think I
pretty
saw a
hard to
Yeah,
build on
that's a
that.
big bad no. It's
yeah,
not
and there
Wingo.
were
Cut him some slack. Continue, Dave. You're
yeah,
cooking.
yeah. But I think when he's going to come back, he's going to return. I mean, just winning the awards that he did. Obviously, the whole nation of college football. I saw a tweet earlier today from a very credible national writer that said he thinks he's going to be the best center in college football. I mean, he has, the highest PFF grade of a center in college football. I also think Aiden Mazzell, we haven't seen
You
a lot of him.
bastard. You
His speed.
bastard.
Is that your pick?
That was
I
mine.
feel like.
Yeah.
Do you remember what our picks were for everybody last year? I would love. I don't even remember.
All mine were right, but I don't know
I
who
was
they
gonna
were.
say I probably picked Andy Jean, and then that didn't happen. But
I was trying to find the video to see what we did, but I couldn't. I don't remember what we titled it as, but bastard. I almost had a
I'm
clean
sorry.
slate
I
there.
I I hope Will Mazzell is watching because we both picked Aiden Mazzell, so that's 2 picks from 2 of the people on the show, so you should feel pretty good about yourself. But when Aiden Mazzell's been in the game, he's made plays. You think about that deep throw he had in the Georgia game before Lagway got hurt. You think about that big play that got called back against Mississippi State. I mean, you can see the playmaking ability from Aiden Mazzell and the speed that he possesses, the length and everything else at wide receiver. I think he takes a really, really big step this year and probably surprises a lot of folks nationally.
Yeah, look, for me, I had Aiden Mizell. I'll change it, but my other offensive guy was going to be Austin Barber. I think at left tackle, the less we hear about Austin, the better. I think he has the potential to earn himself a brick, which would obviously be a breakout year. It's obviously a contract year for him, and I feel like 2 years ago he was dealing with an injury. We gave him kind of that little pass. This past year, I feel like we're like, all right, this is going to be his year. I think I had him as a breakout player last year, and I think more so the Devin Manuel, Brandon Crenshaw. We always saw the first few games, just the back and forth of who was starting, who was playing, and that caused a little bit of a hiccup. But towards the end of the year, he really kind of found himself. But I think just the confusion the first couple of games kind of set him back a little bit. I think that without that, he really breaks out. As for somebody else, maybe I would go with Eugene since you took Aiden. Obviously, I wanted Aiden. I think he'll do great. And Eugene really, I mean, again, didn't really have a breakout year freshman year, showed us signs of being a star, and even last year showed us signs, and then was hurt all year. So he's really poised to be the guy. I mean, it's going to be his room in a sense. I mean, it should be. I mean, he's the veteran guy now outside of Studervant, but that's been there this time. So it's time for him to step up. On the defense, I think it's going to be Pup Howard. You're kind of having with Shamar James leaving. I think there was a little bit of that back and forth of who's taking over, and Pup you can kind of just tell walk past the guy the way he cares. He's a very humble guy, and in that room, it was very thick. And I don't think he wanted to come in and step on too many toes. And not that he has to or will, but I think I think it'll pass over healthily to him and Miles, and I think that he'll really just be able to go play his game and not have to worry about trying not to overshadow. And I don't think that was the case, but he seems like I don't want to take this away from Shamar, but Pup Howard on the football field before his injury was just by far better than anybody else. And then look, I'm gonna go with Gums. I think Gums has another octave that he hasn't touched yet off the edge. And I think with the guys that we lost in the edge room, his expectation of what he's supposed to do is only going to amplify. So I think Tyreek Sapp was a great pick because, I mean, going into it, I think one of us had to have picked Sapp, but maybe not because a lot of eyes were on Boone. A lot of eyes were on LJ McCray coming in as a freshman. Sapp was kind of just the guy that had kind of been riding along. We loved him because he was a Gator, but hadn't really stepped up last year, and I think he still has another octave that he can hit. So all good players. I mean, those are all look. And none of us mentioned DJ Lagway, which is really exciting. And there's a lot of nobody mentioned Dallas Wilson. Nobody mentioned Studervant. Nobody mentioned. I mean, the safety room. I think Gregory Smith's another guy you can kind of like an honorable mention. I think he might take some strides in the safety room. Bryce Thornton, Aaron Gates, Sharif Denson. Those guys really started to find their identity. They could have a monster year going into next year. So. The whole team could break out. We could rock and roll, and I love it.
I was going to say, I think DJ Lagway is a gimme. So.
I mean, is he though?
He might be 6-0 as a starter when he finishes games.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play a full season, so I feel like no matter what, right? You complete a full season. It's as long as he continues on the trajectory that he had when he was the starter, you've got to consider it a breakout year.
They said I picked Slackman. I think you picked Slackman, Allie.
I did. Now that you say that, I did. I picked Joey Slackman.
Mr. Nobody's trying to throw me. I was a Slackman guy.
I apologize. That was me. That was 1,000% me. Damn it.
We were doing smelling salts and everything.
Yeah, Mr. Nobody trying to get at me.
The cannonballs in the ice bath and the smelling salts got me. I was fooled by.
You bought the hype.
I bought the hype, all the optics.
I mean, we bought smelling salts, so we invested into the hype. Okay.
Yeah, you did. You invested in that. That's true.
You guys did it worse.